You made a great decision to tune into In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics, because our guest, defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo. And let me tell you, the guy should have been a head coach in the National Football League. Didn't happen. But the Bengals have him for another year as defensive coordinator. The Bengals are the only team in the National Football League that have all their coordinators returning with the head coach for the fifth straight year. The only team. That continuity and consistency is a big, big deal to Lou Anarumo, to the organization, to the defensive players. There's a big, big positive vibe going on between players and coaches, offensively and defensively, with the Cincinnati Bengals. Lou Anarumo talks about that, talks about how he schemes people, talks about a lot of things that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be beneficiaries of. Lou Anarumo, good hire. Selfishly glad that he's back with the Cincinnati Bengals. Thanks for taking the time to join us on In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. As always, we're bringing it to you from our outstanding studios here at First Star Logistics. And we've got a guest that is a great friend of In the Trenches, and that is defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo. And boy, what a time it's been in the life of defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo. And we appreciate you carving time with us, Coach. Welcome and thank you as always.
No problem. As you know, Lap, it's always a pleasure to be here.
Well, I appreciate that very much. You look good, Coach. You look a little rested. You got some color. I like what I'm seeing, Coach. I'm getting fired up. You ready to rock and roll again? You little R&R? Everything good?
Yeah. Got a little rest. Hung out on the beach a little bit, and ready to get going. Combine, free agency, draft. Here we go.
I'm telling you, this defensive football team, the Bengals in general, okay, year before last, go to the Super Bowl and lose a thriller in the Super Bowl. And then to follow it up, it's hard to maintain that level of success on back-to-back seasons. And the Bengals in franchise history had really never done that, and win the division 2 years in a row and get to the AFC Championship game again and just fall a tad short. What a great defensive season once again, Coach. And regular season numbers. Here's some of the numbers. As you know, it was stellar. 7th in yards allowed rushing, 9th in rushing yards per attempt, 4th in first downs generated per game, which all that is vitally important. But the biggest thing is 6th in points allowed. And the Cincinnati Bengals, there were only 2 teams in the AFC that were in the top 10 in both points scored and points allowed, the Bengals and the Buffalo Bills. There are only 5 in all of football. You know, the 49ers, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC. So, I mean, congratulations on back-to-back hellacious seasons defensively, sir.
No, I appreciate it. And as you know, always giving credit to the players and our coaches. They do a tremendous job. And, we got such a great group. And hopefully we can keep the band together, as they say.
Yeah, that's a big factor. The continuity of the coaching staff, though. I mean, to me, you know how I feel about it, Coach. I think you're as good as there is in the National Football League in terms of putting together a defensive game plan and calling it. And the thing that is impressive to me about you is you're patient and poised. Well, coaches will teach patience and poise to players. You always have something in the back hip, though. In that fourth quarter, when it's go time, you pull it out and throw it out there, and it's like, what? Wow, where'd that come from? And how do you do that? I mean, it's got to be tempting at some point during the course of the first 3 quarters of the game where it might not be going exactly the way you want, where I'm going to throw it out there. But you always hold on to something. How tough is that?
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah, I bet.
You want to just make sure that you're doing everything to get, you're never trying to give up possessions or give up scores, obviously, but, there's always something that you want to just kind of hang back for a key moment, and especially in the key, they're all key games, but especially when you get to the playoffs, and if you can hold something for the second half, maybe, or later in the game, it certainly helps.
So the staff, and I guess I'm going to say, unfortunately, in your case, because I think it's a travesty that you're not the head coach of the Cardinals or some football team in the National Football League. There's no two ways about that in my estimation. But that process, Coach, of going through the interview process, the preparation that it took, how grueling is that? I mean, how tough is it? Do you spend all 24 hours of the day trying to anticipate things that you might get questioned about, or how do you handle getting ready for that type of an exhaustive interview?
Yeah, it's funny. So we lose the heartbreaker there to Kansas City, and I'm sitting on the bus trying to just deal with all that and how frustrated we all were, and eating some kind of food just because I was hungry, and
Right.
my agent called me as I'm sitting on the bus. So ever since that moment until last week, we've kind of been in flux on what was gonna happen. So, but it's part of the process. Again, I'm not complaining, just kind of telling you how it went. And but as I told my wife, I couldn't be happier. We're in a wonderful place. Love everybody here. Love ownership, the players, the coaches. So while it didn't work out there, I couldn't be happier being back.
It's amazing, Coach. Now that you know Brian Callahan, yourself, Coach Walters, Coach Pitcher had interviews to be coordinators, but everybody's back. But it just goes to show the league is like Cincinnati's doing it right. We want a piece of that. We got to interview some of these guys. But for it to be intact with that type of talent at the coaching positions for Zach's fifth year, 5 years in a row now, the only team in the NFL that can make that claim. Kansas City was close, but Bieniemy went to Washington, and they were the only other team that could have claimed that, to have all your coordinators. I mean, Philadelphia, they lose in the Super Bowl. They lose both their coordinators, and Bieniemy goes to Washington with Kansas City. 3 out of the 4 coordinators in the Super Bowl move on. So to have both coordinators back and key position coaches back, I mean, it's extraordinary for the Bengals, and it looks really, really bright in that regard, doesn't it?
Oh, 100%. As I mentioned, we got a terrific staff, and everybody gets along great, and we work together so well, and that's a big part of putting the players in position to be successful, and it all starts with that. And couldn't be happier, and everybody gets recognition. That's what happens when you win. But we're fortunate to get the group back together again.
When you went through the interview process, Coach, were there similarities and differences in some of the interviews as opposed to others? I mean, obviously you learned something. You're a very intelligent man. Obviously, there was something to be learned by every experience you went through from an interview standpoint. What was that like?
Yeah, again, it was not a new experience because I did it last year with the Giants,
Right,
and
right.
so I could draw on some of those things. But at the end of the day, it's a conversation, and you're trying to get your points across to the people that are listening, and but it takes time to develop, what you want to do and how you want to present it. But certainly a worthwhile process for sure.
Is it the same in terms of the people that are there in the interview process? I know, like Mike Brown, this is his life. He's going to be involved in that type of interview process. I'm sure Mr. Bidwell was as well, and Mr. Mara with the Giants. I mean, is it ownership? Is it general managers? Are
Yeah.
there a whole bunch of people there for you?
Yeah, it's different. It's different with the can only speak on the ones that I've been through, and ownership has been in both of the ones that I went through, and some other GMs both, and then also just some other people as well that they wanted to be in there, key people in the organization. So you got a handful of people that you go through it with, and which is a good thing because then they get people give different inputs to what they're hearing.
So you're familiar with your time being compressed, getting ready for the combine and all the things that are coming up here in the off season. Last year going to the Super Bowl, super compressed. This year AFC Championship game, compressed, but not as much as last year. Have you found last year's experience helpful in getting ready and kind of prioritizing things for this year?
Yeah, 100%. We know exactly, what we have to do in order to prepare, and from a coaching standpoint, and Duke's guys, they've been working the whole time, so that certainly helps. But we know where we have to, catch up and get in position to be ready for the combine, which we will be, and free agency right after that, and then the drafts.
So on March 15th, free agency, there are 18 players now that Adamitis is signed. And Joe Burrow's contract obviously is a big looming thing. Make him number 19. But defensively, 9 players could hit the market on the 15th. 4 starters: Jesse Bates, Von Bell, Eli Apple, and Jermaine Pratt. All outstanding contributors to your success defensively. No question about it. With respect to, I'm sure they all want to come back. We all want, fans would like to see them all be signed. I know coaches would like to have them back, and it's just in this world of salary cap, is there enough for everybody? But all 4 of those guys, major contributors to what you accomplished, aren't they? Hey, Dave Lapham here to tell you about one of Cincinnati's fastest growing companies, First Star Logistics. They're currently drafting freight brokers to join their sales team. Apply at firststarlogistics.com.
First Star Logistics, opportunity knocking.
Oh, yeah. Each one of them that you mentioned, Jesse, Vaughn, Jermaine, and certainly Eli. You can look back to not only throughout the season, but key plays in the playoffs over the last 2 years by all of them. So I just think we'd love to have them all back, and I'd love to sit here and tell you they're all coming back. But, the nature of the NFL these days is, it's hard. But, we'll work and in tandem with Duke and ownership and figuring out what the best plan is for us.
With respect to free agency, you want to re-sign your own and prioritize, how you do it within the cap and all that sort of thing. But now, back-to-back successful seasons, sustaining success from one year to the next, Cincinnati becomes a destination for free agents from other football teams. And there's always teams that mismanage the cap, and there's a guy out there. Why is that guy out there? It's not because of performance. He's a cap casualty. And now, Cincinnati, shoot, I'd love to go there. I want to play for Lou Anarumo. That guy's unbelievable. He's a great coordinator. You've got tremendous buzz and, a reputation that's being built around the National Football League. The team's winning football games. The organization is in great shape in terms of what they can do potentially within salary cap reasons, boundaries, with respect to the Bengals for sure, right?
Yeah, and again, I don't know all the details of the exact cap situation and all that, but I just know that I have confidence in everybody here that however it shakes out, we'll have the right guys that will enable us to continue our success.
And Coach, the thing too is Duke Tobin has put his bat on the ball, he and his people, in terms of free agency and draft. And the coaching staff has done a great job of developing these players. The Kansas City Chiefs are a great example of it last year. Tyreek Hill, they trade and they get assets. I think they had 7 or 8 rookies that had major contributions for them, during the course of their Super Bowl winning season. And I mean, that's what it takes in this era of salary cap. I mean, you're going to have to develop young guys pretty quickly, aren't you?
Oh, there's no doubt about it, especially when you have to pay the quarterback, and that's certainly a big part of it. And we all know how important Joe is, and the Patrick Mahomes and the Allens of the world, and all those guys. You have to. And then, as you mentioned, you're hitting on your draft picks is certainly important, and developing those younger players so that they come in and play a substantial role as the season goes on.
What are you most proud of, Coach, over the last couple of years with your defensive football team? What do you think is not just maybe the biggest accomplishment, but maybe a couple of things in terms of, boy, that's a significant accomplishment?
I just got a note today from a coach that coached back in the '90s with the team that I love. I've gotten so many compliments about how we play great team defense, how unselfish we are. You listen to Travis Kelce at the Super Bowl talking about us on defense, how we tackle, how we communicate. Everybody's always on the same page. To me, that's a tribute to the guys, certainly our coaches, and that's our calling card. We've got to continue that going forward.
Is that the biggest challenge, sustaining that success? You did it. It's hard to play in the Super Bowl, and it's equally as hard, maybe harder, to get back, to that level like you did in back-to-back seasons and get to the conference championship game and almost get back to the Super Bowl. Is that the biggest challenge, sustaining that level of success year in and year out?
Well, I think the core of the guys that we have, they're not going to flinch. They're going to want to come back, and they're used to it now. It's okay. We're going back to get to the championship game and beyond. It's not just a goal that we put up there in the beginning of the year, and you're just hoping and wishing. Our guys have seen it, tasted it, and want to get back. So, and they know the formula that it takes to get back, and it's not a bunch of individuals. It's a bunch of guys that are unselfish and they want to play great team defense.
So, Coach, amongst all the the to-do list, that you've already referenced, you got the combine. We're in the midst of the combine. That's here. Free agency, the middle of March, the draft at the end of April. All of that's going on from a priority standpoint. Where does making tweaks and adjustments to your defense fall? Is that further down the road? And the fact that you have the continuity and consistency you have, does that make it easier to bring it further down the road?
Yeah. So I think, this time of the year, what's most important is that we, focus on player acquisition and making sure that that part of it, that we nail the draft picks and nail the free agents that we take. And, the fact this is where we can lean on our continuity from a staff standpoint, where, our new schemes or whatever we're going to do, that stuff can wait. We're always going to be working on it, but our focus right now is just, we all have our scouting hats on, and we're going to, try to get the best players we can get that fit us the best.
So not only does Duke Tobin and his staff, they're on the college aspect of it, but, they study team salary caps and who's might be over the cap, and they got problems. There's always a guy out there. What the heck is that guy out there for? He's not out there because of lack of performance. He's out there because they screwed up their salary cap, and you try to project those kind of things that might be available. Is that a big part of the process right now?
It is, for sure. And just all of that, goes into it for certainly. And, we want to make sure that, when we hit the ground running for OTAs and after the draft, that, we have the pieces in place it's going to make us successful.
When I look at, okay, what type of player is a fit for Lou Anarumo's defense? Your defense is so versatile. It's like, it seems like you can almost adapt your scheme to players' strengths and vice versa. It's almost like it's like one big, I don't know, choreographed scenario. It's amazing. But the one thing that players have to have, they have to have some smarts, man. I mean, football IQ is a big must for you, isn't it?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, again, that's a part of, playing good team defense, is making sure that we don't hurt ourselves, don't make, we're not a very penalized team and in general. And, that all goes into play with that.
So is it too early? I guess, you're in the infancy stages in terms of studying the draft and everything too. And everybody always says, "Oh, this draft is strong," and corners. This draft is strong with interior defensive linemen. And there's not too many edge guys. There always are players in every draft at every position group, right? It's just a matter of unearthing and unfolding, who that might be. Does it look like there's an opportunity to maybe help yourself unfortunately, as a result of the success you pick late, in the round, but there's always good football players at that portion of the draft, late first, early second round guys. Excited about the possibility of talent acquisition there?
Oh, no doubt. And as you mentioned, each draft is going to be a little bit stronger or weaker in different positions. But, if we could just find the ones that fit us best, and we've been able to do that, that's something that'll help our team get better. That's what we need.
No doubt about it. I mean, it's going to be a very, very, very interesting offseason. I mean, Coach, I've talked about this a few times. Back in 1974, when I was a rookie, a veteran player making $50,000, that dude's making a fortune. Now it's like you get players signing for $50 million guaranteed potentially. I'm like, what? It was $50,000, and if he got cut, he didn't get a dime, bro. I mean, it's like, wow, the league has changed so much, but it's so. I mean, it's like a 500-pound marketing gorilla. It's unbelievable how the league has grown. It really is crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a great sport, and everybody loves watching us on Sundays and Monday nights and Thursdays.
Coach, all I can say is you were the opportunities that were presented to you were well earned and well deserved, and I'm probably like a lot. I can't understand how it didn't turn out differently, but selfishly, I'll take it. I'll take it because I'll take Coach Lou Anarumo coaching my defensive football team any day, every day of the week. And another great year under your belt, and there's no way that it doesn't happen because you've earned it, you deserve it, and it should happen, sir. You are going to be a head coach in the National Football League. There is no two ways about it.
I appreciate all those kind words for sure. And, the good news is, as I mentioned earlier, I couldn't be happier to be back with the guys and, ready to get rolling again. Here we go.
And, the beautiful thing is the guys couldn't be happier to have you back. And that synergistic effect between the coaching staff and the players, man, it's just special. Everything, go through that locker room. It's a special place, man. No two ways about that as well. So I'm real excited to see what's in store this season. I think, like Joe Burrow said, when he was asked, Joe, how long's the window open? Window's open as long as I'm here.
There you go. You gotta love Joe.
Gotta love Joe. No doubt about it. Gotta love Lou as well. Coach, appreciate your time as always. Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realized self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.
Hey there, everybody. I'm Dave Lapham, and we do a podcast called In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. And if you want to hit the like button on when you're reserving any video, that'd be a good thing to do. And if you want to subscribe and not miss any videos, make sure you do that, because we are going to try to cover the Cincinnati Bengals every way that they can be covered.